It goes way beyond what we do as a basketball team. I think it's a real life statement and saying. Again, I think one thing we try to do is prepare our young men for life after basketball. And some of the habits that we form and have to create to be a successful basketball team are things that translate into the real world. One's being an everyday guy. Those 2.5, 3 hours that we have with our players every day, no matter what happens prior to that time, I need their best. And I need them to be dialed in. And they have to be accountable and responsible to their teammates, to their coaches. And if they can do that, that'll bode well for them later in life. It's what I'm going to demand. It's what I'm going to expect from them every day. And when they don't, those guys are going to have tough days because they're letting not just themselves down, but they're letting 13 other guys in that locker room down. They're letting coaching staff down. They're letting a university down. And we talk about playing for the name on the front of the uniform. That's vital.
I'm a cowboy, 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 cowboy.
Hello and welcome to OStateTV's Countdown to Tip-Off. We're here at Eskimo Joe's. I'm Max Gross alongside Natalie Sutton.
And I'm Lucas Messina alongside Richard Denson.
Tonight, first-year head coach Brad Underwood will be making his regular season debut as the Cowboys will take on the Campbell Camels. This will be the first ever meeting between the two teams. Let's take a closer look at Campbell. Last season they finished 12-18, but a fun fact about them is that they advanced to the 1992 NCAA tournament where they were defeated by Duke. Campbell returns 3 starters, including Big South Freshman of the Year Chris Clemens. Look at the alliteration of that, Chris Clemens, Campbell Camels. Clemens was the 2016 Big South Freshman of the Year, and he was the nation's 7th leading freshman scorer, averaging 18.5 points per game, which actually was a little bit more than our own Jawan Evans. So look out for that matchup tonight. But Clemens was also named the preseason All-Big South first team, so it's going to be a point guard battle between those two teams. But this is just the first non-conference game. Max, give us a little preview of what we got in store this year.
All right, thanks, Richard. After the Cowboys game tonight, they'll take on 2 more mid-major opponents at Gallagher-Iba. Then the non-conference schedule really picks up as the Pokes travel to Maui for the Maui Invitational. Their first matchup will pin them with UConn on November 21st. The Huskies are a team with a great track record of success in Maui, having won the tournament in 2005 and 2010. This tournament also features 3 top 10 teams in Wisconsin, Oregon, and North Carolina. OSU will then return to the mainland before traveling across the country to play Maryland. Guard Mello Trimble returns for his junior year and was named a preseason All-American. This game, along with a road tilt against Wichita State, represent the toughest games for the Cowboys before Big 12 play starts. Now, as we get ready to tip off the season, we thought we'd take a look at some of the players you should get to know. Natalie got a chance to sit down with the son of a former OSU legend. What did he have to say?
That's right. I spoke to Trey Reeves. Now let's see what I gathered from meeting with him.
He's with a basketball. Reeves. Oh! He made it! Oh! We are going to overtime! Oh!
Bryant Big Country Reeves is legendary at OSU for his 2-time All-American, owns numerous records, and an unforgettable 3 that set the tone for the rest of the season, leading his team to the Final Four. Big Country went to play for the Vancouver Grizzlies. During his 6-year stint is when Trey Reeves' basketball journey began. Even though it's easy to say that he picked up where his dad left off, Trey Reeves is carving himself a new path in OSU basketball history.
Obviously, he never pushed us real hard to do anything we didn't want to do, but being around it at a young age all the way up, he was definitely an influence.
For as long as Trey could remember, he was playing basketball alongside his younger brother and sister. Of course, Big Country had a part in this. Even though his moves on the court might impress, his work ethic in the classroom placed him as valedictorian of his high school class. Reeves is looking forward to his first season with OSU.
Just come in every day, do what I can do, and whatever happens, happens.
For OStateTV, I'm Natalie Sutton.
A cool fact about Trey Reeves that his teammates don't even know is that he's actually a dual citizen of Canada and the United States. Another thing about him is when he was in high school, he was actually a valedictorian of his high school class. So who do you have, Max?
I'm talking about Jawan Evans, who enters his sophomore season with high expectations after a very good freshman year in 2015. Scouts really praised Evans' ability to create offense not only for himself but for his teammates. That ability as both a passer and a scorer led to Evans getting some draft hype toward the end of last season, but unfortunately his season was cut short with a shoulder injury that forced him to miss the last 10 games of the season. However, this year Evans is healthy and so is Phil Forte. Those two together could make up one of the most dynamic backcourt duos in the entire conference. However, like most young guards, Evans needs to show more consistency, especially when it comes to his decision making. As a freshman, he turned the ball over 2.5 times per game last season. However, with Forte back, he should handle some of the ball handling duties, and that could reduce Evans' turnovers. The Cowboys could see a huge benefit if Evans can reach his potential this season, but he won't be able to do it alone. The Cowboys will also need some help from the newcomers. Richard got a chance to talk to one of them. What did he have to say?
Thanks, Max. Talking about Jawan Evans, let's take a look at one of the potential players he might be actually passing the ball to a lot this year. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce to you our new international player coming to us all the way from the Netherlands, Lucas Messina.
For most OSU athletes, the road to Stillwater isn't always direct. This was certainly the case for Lucas Messina.
I think it's a great school. The people, the environment, small city. Everybody roots for the school. So I definitely like that. So.
Prior to OSU, Lucas played 3 seasons at the Canarias Basketball Academy in Spain. His athleticism, instinct, and height put him on the radar of many college basketball teams.
Yeah, it's a good academy. They're trying to make you ready as much as they can with their facilities. It's they're really trying to help you out and have one of the best for you. So.
As a 19-year-old freshman, Lucas is still adjusting to being alone in the U.S.
It's a big change, away from family, all the way to the other side of the world. But it was my dream, so you got to sacrifice for that.
Lucas also played internationally in the Netherlands. In fact, his family still lives there. Despite being all the way in Stillwater, Oklahoma, he still makes an effort to talk to his loved ones.
I try to keep up with them every day as much as I can, but there's time difference, so when it's late here, they're already sleeping, so sometimes it's a little bit complicated. Everything goes a lot harder here, the culture. Everybody's more together here, they're open for each other, and it's nice.
Lucas has as many on-court adjustments as he does off the court. One of those adjustments is playing for new head coach Brad Underwood and his style of play and philosophy.
It's a whole different system, I have to get used to it, but I think if we just keep on working hard, focus, trying to learn something new every day, it should be all right. It should be a great team this year.
Patience will be the key for Lucas Messina. For OStateTV, I'm Richard Denson.
I really like this Lucas Messina kid. Looking at him, he has a lot of potential, athleticism, height, shot blocking ability. That front court could be really nice with this Underwood system. But from one Lucas onto the court to the Lucas sitting right next to me, who's your person, Lucas?
Thanks, Richard. My player is Leighton Hammonds, the 6'8 senior who quadrupled his points, rebounds, assists, and steal count from his sophomore to junior season. So who knows what big things are in store for us this year. One of the biggest moments was him hitting a 3-point buzzer beater off a last-second steal to force overtime against Baylor, and that was only as a freshman. So he knows how to react in those big moments. Him and Phil Forte are the leading seniors this year, but look for a lot of production from Hammonds. He's my senior to watch, and off the court, the guys on the team love him. With the amount of freshmen on this year's squad, a likable personality like Hammonds can go a long way to make them comfortable as the new guys on the court. But look for number 23 to be a huge part of the Cowboys on the court this season. Max and I got the opportunity to talk to Coach Brad Underwood earlier this week. So when we come back here on Countdown to Tip-Off, we'll see what he had to say about the Cowboys and Oklahoma State.
This is your time to grow. to become a leader in every respect. By serving others before yourself, and together, achieving far more than you ever thought possible. You're not just here for an education, but to forever color your future.
It's an attitude, it's a pride.
It represents community, it represents family.
It's something that I know that I'll always be able to come back to.
The color orange means everything to me.
There is nothing muted about it.
The color orange is so bold and bright, and it represents the spirit and energy that every cowboy has.
How can you not bleed orange would be my question.
55,000 people, and it's all orange. And it really is an amazing, amazing sight.
Orange is that feeling when you're more proud of anything than you've ever been in your whole life.
It's something that you have to put yourself in to really appreciate. We're cowboys.
We face the day with purpose. We speak truthfully, if we need to speak at all. Promises are what we keep. Anger is what we don't. Whatever must be done, we do it. Until it's done. Until it's right. We show respect and work to earn it. We live this code. We are this code.
We are cowboys.
Are you a cowboy?
Welcome back, Cowboy fans. This year was the 10th annual Homecoming in Hoops. And for those who don't know what it is, it's a pep rally for the men and women's basketball team. Check out my recap.
We got a chance to sit down with the newest member of the OSU coaching family. Really seems like Coach Underwood has the energy of this team headed into the right direction going into this new season. Let's hear what the coach had to say.
So, Coach, during your time at Kansas State, you served under two very talented coaches, Bob Huggins and Frank Martin. What did you absorb from those two guys?
I've gotten a lot from them, not just from the X and O side of things, but more importantly, how to manage a team, the locker room, the importance of the locker room, invaluable knowledge from a recruiting point of view. Bob Huggins is as good a recruiter as any person I've been around. So I think there's, it's a long season. You learn so much. You learn things that maybe don't fit your personality as well, and I think that's just as important. So seen a lot of ways to do things, and those are two of the very best, and I've been very, very fortunate to be able to work under those guys.
So you've been here in GIA as both a player and a coach. What's it going to be like to finally be on the home side of things here in GIA?
Well, I've never been in this building when it hasn't been full, and it's one of the most intimidating places that I've ever been. In my 30 years as a college basketball coach, this place is magical, and to have it on my side for a change will be a lot of fun. I'm excited. I think that the passion, I think that the old buildings, you're talking about the tradition, the history, all the great games that have taken place in here. There's something just magical about that, and I get goosebumps just thinking about the walking out here for the first game on Friday.
Going through a coaching change is always difficult for a program, but you were able to keep the leadership of this team intact. How important is that going forward?
Oh, it's vital. It's vital. Those are the intangible things that maybe the fans and outside people don't see. Is you don't win if you don't have leadership. You don't win if you don't have togetherness and a locker room where the guys like each other and play for each other. And having Phil Forte, having Leighton Hammond, those are two seniors who've been here. They've experienced so much in this building, so much in that locker room, and to have them leading the way is invaluable for me, and it's something that they're setting a culture for our young players that will last long beyond their time as in a uniform here. So, Juwan Evans, a guy that's been, a freshman of the year, experienced a great deal. All those guys are important to really laying the foundation for what we want our program to be.
At Stephen F. Austin, you went to the tournament 3 times. You know what it takes to get there. What changes need to be made here at OSU to get back to the big dance?
Well, I think it's just an everyday approach. I don't look that far ahead. I'm very simplistic in the way I approach things. I try to get our guys to be the best they can be, as close to perfect as we can possibly play, and on that day, and not worry about what happens down the road. The process to me is very important. I never thought about the NCAA tournament when I was at Stephen F. Austin. I thought about getting our players better every day, letting them, helping them reach and achieve their goals. If we do that and we stay together, that has a chance to happen, and that's what we all strive for. But it's not something that we get consumed with now. It's about getting better every day, developing a chemistry, developing a passion, a camaraderie that has to happen. Those are the things that will allow us to be successful in late season, February, March, and hopefully into postseason.
All righty. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
What Max and I learned from talking to Coach Underwood is there's a lot to like and a lot to be excited for this season. Richard, tell us a little bit about what we should expect from an Oklahoma State team that's led by Coach Underwood.
Well, I spent all summer talking about it, watching videos. One of the things I really like about Brad Underwood is his motion offense. It's systematic, it's efficient, it creates easy opportunities. In fact, let's take a look at when he was at Stephen F. Austin. If you look at how this play is broken down, you see the 2 and the 3 on the wings, and you see the 5, the center, come up to the top of the key. You see the power forward run as kind of like a point forward. So just imagine this would be Leighton Hammond's for our situation. You see he gets it to the 3, and you see the 2 and the 1 both cut, leaving the 5 to get the ball and give it back to the power forward for an easy drive to the paint. So it opens up the paint, which creates drives. You can draw fouls. You can have shooters open. So I really love Brad Underwood's offense. But enough about the offense, because I could go on all night about this, and we don't got that much time. So as you know, it's Friday night. Tomorrow is game day, but tonight is game day. So everybody's here at Eskimo Joe's. In fact, we have our own Julia Benbrook with somebody talking. So let's see what she's up to.
Well, we're excited to be here in Eskimo Joe's today because Eskimo Joe's and game days go hand in hand. So as basketball season is upon us, that means that those Eskimo Joe's visits only come more frequently. So I'm here with a couple of fans that are not only getting Eskimo Joe's cheese fries, but getting to go to the game tonight, right? Okay, so where are you guys from?
Tulsa.
We're from Berry Hill.
Awesome. Okay, and you guys, I've learned, have been to some games before. So what are you most excited about?
Seeing Phil Forte going to shoot some threes.
There you go. Anybody else?
Ankle breakers, ankle breakers.
All right. Okay, and you guys have never been to an OSU basketball game before. So what are you most excited to see?
I want to see them dunk it. I want to see somebody do an alley-oop.
Ooh, those would be some pretty exciting things. So we're going to send it back to the main desk. What do we have to say? Go Pokes!
Thank you, Julia. When we return, Rich and I are going to give you a recap from the women's game that took place this morning.
A nationally respected Oklahoma State University degree can be yours.
Right here in Oklahoma City.
My OSU degree creates opportunities for my life.
My OSU degree is from a university I trust.
My OSU degree expands the support I receive as a veteran.
My OSU degree means a great career for me.
Get an OSU degree.
In OKC.
I am trying to study over here. Unbelievable.
The decision to join the OSU Alumni Association has an impact far beyond the benefits of membership. Alumni Association members have the opportunity to share their opinions and potentially influence the future of the university through a variety of programs. Membership supports all of our alumni and student programs, and our members show their pride in OSU every day with the official Orange Ball car decal. Every cowboy and cowgirl is different, but we all share the deep bond of the OSU experience. Rein in your connection with fellow alumni and the university by becoming an OSU Alumni Association member today.
OSU played his first game without Jaden Hobbs. The freshman guard suffered a torn ACL and meniscus in the last exhibition game against Southeastern Oklahoma State. She is now out for the season. So today we wanted to see how they would fare and how they would respond. You know, they got started off pretty
Yeah, they were
bad.
a little rusty at first, so I'll agree with you on that, but they did pull it together for the second half. You know, it was crazy. They got up, like 50 points alone just in the second half. The first half had a lot of turnovers, but it might have to do with the fact that it's 11A game, and it also has to do with the first game of the season.
Well, you know what, Natalie, that brings me to a point that I've kind of wanted to talk about. I think when we think about the OSU Cowgirl basketballs, we think about Brittany Martin. She was the Big 12 ranked player of the year, and she was like the heart and soul of the team. So now the question is, how are we going to replace her? As you can see, Kaylee Jensen had a double-double, 22 points, 14 rebounds. Carly Wheeler started off kind of cold in the first half. She got it going, 13 points, 5 for 11, just a couple of assists. And I think that's how we're going to have to transition into this next year. We're going to have Carly Wheeler do her thing. We're going to have also Diana Amazi. Diana Amazi, the senior, number 5, if you don't know her face. She gets a lot of buckets. She scores. We have Mandy Coleman, who also gets a lot of rebounds, block shots. I think she had 3 blocks tonight. So, you know, it's going to be a committee thing. Not one player can do it, several players. Amazi, Wheeler, Coleman. So what you think?
Exactly. I definitely think it has to be a team effort. That's exactly what they're doing, you know. A team isn't just one person. It's a team. It's multiple players. The only thing I did notice that I would advise a team to work on is they need to spread out that offense. You know, they're getting too bundled up in the middle, and that's how they're getting turnovers, just back and forth. Also, I think, you know, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, you gotta relax.
Yeah.
You just gotta relax.
Relax, exactly.
Yeah. RELAX, relax.
You got it, girls. Okay, so now we're gonna toss it over to Max and Lucas or Julia.
Coming up on the 5-year anniversary of the Remember the 4 crash, our own Julia Brembrook got a chance to talk to some of the players and coaches that were directly affected.
You know, unfortunately, this university is no stranger to tragedy. And 5 years after the devastating plane crash that killed 4 precious Cowboy family members, I had the chance to sit down with someone that not only saw Coach Budke as a coach, a colleague, but also a best friend. Head coach Jim Littell is going to tell you that story.
Can you explain to me the day of the crash and kind of what you went through in that process?
You know, it was a very difficult day. Shelley Budke had called me late evening and was very concerned because Coach had not checked in with her. It was something that he always did.
At 3:01 a.m., there was a knock on Coach Littell's door with information about a recruiting trip that did not return to Stillwater. Head coach Kurt Budke, assistant coach Miranda Cerna, and women's basketball supporters Paula and Olin Brandstetter died in a plane crash.
You know, I just became numb in a hurry that I'd lost my best friend.
A friendship that started in the mid-'80s. Both Coach Littell and Coach Budke worked at Friends University in Wichita, Kansas, where Coach Littell was the head women's basketball coach.
And Coach was the assistant men's coach, volunteer coach at Friends University, making $1,000 a year. And he was unloading UPS trucks at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Out of that relationship, they made a pact to each other that whoever made it to the Division I level first would bring the other one with them. Coach Budke became the head coach at Oklahoma State University in 2005 and kept his promise.
Coach Budke and Coach Cerna did amazing things for the OSU women's basketball program. 5 years later, it's important to look back at what they taught us and remember the 4.
He was a player's coach. The players could really relate well to him.
The last thing that he said to me was, you know, kid, I love you. And I said it back and gave him a big hug.
Coach Budke was a God-fearing man and believed in the dynamic of being a family. Coach saw something in me that others didn't.
We would go to lunch, and each day it'd take us 30 minutes to get out of the building because she would stop and talk to anybody.
She was just, had the best spirit and the best attitude, and that just really rubbed off on everyone.
With these coaches as leaders, OSU women's basketball quickly went from 0-16 in the conference to the Sweet 16.
You could look at everything that he's won, but to me, his legacy will be the type of man he was and how he treated people on a daily basis.
The year of the crash, the team went on to win the NIT tournament under the leadership of head coach Jim Littell.
I really believe our team was on a mission. They were playing for a higher purpose.
My angels, Budke and Cerna, are always with me. So what they mean to me is indescribable. They are never forgotten.
Those who played for Budke and Cerna have graduated, but the mentality of playing for something bigger than themselves will always remain a part of this program, as we remember the 4.
That's a great story, Julia. So in the remembrance of such a tragedy like this, were you able to take away any silver linings or pieces of positivity through this process?
You know, it is such a hard thing when we lose someone that is so important, not only to this university and that program, but to their family and all of their teammates and everyone that looks up to them. But the one thing that I did see was that Coach Budke and Coach Cerna really put an emphasis on family. And that is something that Coach Littell continues to do with this program. And I think that we're going to see a really great season from the Cowgirls this year, and they're still living off of that mentality.
All right, thank you so much, Julia. We'll be right back on OStateTV's Countdown to Tipoff.
Discovery is for the bold. For what bolder act than to open our eyes and challenge the light? Sit before genius and debate what we hear. Pore over pages and test what we read. Chase after answers and question what we find. Curiosity is our most perfect machine. Every question propelling us forward through divergence, debate, problems, and progress, questions and answers, and more questions. None of this possible without asking one in the first place. Every great solution inspires a greater question, meaning our greatest discoveries are always before us. In less than half a lifetime, our planet's resources will be stretched over 2.2 billion more people. Will our food be safe to eat, sustainable to grow, efficient to transport, and affordable to buy? How will animal populations remain stable and healthy? And what about our own population? How will we fight the development of disease, preserve and purify our water supply? Then there's energy. Where will we find more? And how will we use it? No single answer will solve these problems. So let's work together, following our own questions and sparking new ones in others. Every perspective transforming perception. What new insights could a chemist gain from a linguist? What unforeseen questions could a philosopher spark in a physicist? What might the youngest student offer the most accomplished scientist? The issues we face aren't math or medicine or mechanical problems. They're human problems, with each of us playing a vital role. What a waste it would be for bright minds to never chase the unknown, to memorize but never discover. It's our job to ignite in the next generation a passion to learn, and then a passion to lead. To give them tools so they'll learn how to use them, to give them guidance so they have someone to turn to, and then when they're faced with their own set of challenges, they'll know they can solve them. The billions of people whose lives are made better by the questions we ask might never wonder how many degrees we've earned or awards we've won. No. What matters is simple. Did what we discover in here make a difference in the world? To learn is to serve. Let's learn boldly.
Welcome back to OStateTV's Countdown to Tip-Off. Right now we're going to look at a few players and games that we should be looking forward to. Starting off with Richard. Richard, who's your player?
My breakout player of the year is Jeffrey Carroll. I like to call him JC30 because JC30, kind of like SC30, Steph Curry, but we have Jeffrey Carroll. He's our sharpshooter. I know everybody's going to talk about Juwan and Phil, and they're good too, but Jeffrey Carroll has had a tremendous offseason. I mean, you look at the improvements he's made on the offense and defensive end. He's going to be a big part of Brad Underwood's offense. And you just look at how he came out in the exhibition against Pitt State. This man was on a mission. So you remember last year when we played against OU at Bedlam? Actually it was here. I'm sorry. But Jeffrey Carroll took the last shot. Yes, Juwan had 42, but Jeffrey Carroll took the last shot. And you know what they say? Big-time players get the ball in big-time plays. So watch out for JC30 Jeffrey Carroll.
So from big-time players, we're going to go now to big-time games. Max, what's the biggest game of the year, you think?
Well, the Pokes are going to have to wait all season long for their biggest game of the year when Kansas comes to Gallagher-Iba on March 4th. Now, the Pokes will have already seen the Jayhawks once after traveling to Lawrence in mid-January. This is always a big game for OSU, having won it the last 3 seasons at home. And Bill Self's Jayhawks come in restocked as always, adding top recruit Josh Jackson to establish veterans Devontae Graham and Frank Mason III. So Kansas looks very tough this season, and if the Pokes are trying to get into the NCAA tournament, winning this one at the end of the year would be a great resume booster. Now here's Lucas to tell you about an incoming freshman that'll make an impact.
Yeah, we're going to label him as the newbie, and the newbie to look out for is the true freshman from Norman, Lindy Waters III. Lindy, there's a 3 in his name for a reason, guys. 3 for 4 from three-point land against Pitt State in the exhibition. Totals 15 points in his first game at GAA. Not too bad. Waters had offers from Butler, Cincinnati, OU, and even Harvard, but Coach Underwood got him to play for the Pokes, and we'll be glad he did. At 6'6", he can rebound too, averaged over 7 rebounds in a game his senior year at high school. Lots of people don't know about Lindy Waters yet, but they will. And hey, our other three-point shooter, sharpshooter, Phil Forte III, like I said, there's a 3 in his name for a reason, so watch out for Lindy Waters. And now, Natalie, we're talking about all the players, all the games. What's going to happen at the end of the year?
I gotta say, that is so creative you came up with that first off. But I have to say, I am feeling super good about this, guys, because if you just go into Gallup-Iba, like literally, like the atmosphere is just totally different. And it's just like Brad Underwood is trying super hard to get that spirit back that we used to have. He's trying super hard with everything he does. You can tell the players work out, like everything. It's totally different. And I'm just feeling really confident about it because, you know, yes, the players do control the game, but it's definitely the coach that sets the tone. So I think we got to look out for that, and we have a good chance. So what do you have, Julia?
Well, we have a lot to look forward to with both Cowgirl and Cowboy basketball this year, and it's getting close to tip-off. So I think it's time that we all get over to Gallagher-Iba Arena and help bring back the Rowdy under the leadership of Coach Brad Underwood.
Thanks for sticking around with us here at Eskimo Joe's for OStateTV's Countdown to Tip-Off. For Richard Denson, I'm Lucas Messina.
And I'm Max Gross for Natalie Sutton. Be sure to tune in to Countdown to Kickoff tomorrow at noon. Thank you so much for watching.
I'm